among us. We are well into the fast, and I wanted to check in and see how everybody was doing. And I also wanted to give you some tips if you're struggling for how our family has worked hard over really, truly the last decade to get better at honoring the fast. I think it's important, first of all, to mention that you should always check with your spiritual father, as well as be on the same page with your spouse about how you, as a family, are going to honor the fast in the best way that you can. The eating guidelines are meant to strengthen our spirit, and we need to make sure that those are linked intimately together the entire time that we do this. So it's not about the letter of the law. It is disciplining our bodies so that we can in turn discipline our spirit. And that being said, that's why I'm really passionate about getting my kids involved in the fast as well. I think as parents and Sunday school teachers and adult community in general, we tend to try to make things easier for our children and to give them a lot of slack because they are little. And while that is true, we want to be generous and gentle with our children. Part of the reason as adults, a lot of us aren't good at the fast is because we haven't had a lot of practice. So when you're a kiddo is the time to get these habits under your belt, get these tools under your belt so that you can fast more strictly, have more discipline as an adult. So all that being said, here we are in the midst of another great fast. I have been Melkite for about 13 years now, and I can honestly say I do not think I've ever done a perfect fast. So God bless you if you have. Please forgive me if I have set the bar too low. I hope that these tips help meet people where they are at. I think part of the reason that we in our own house have struggled with the fast is we have different people at different phases of life. So not only have I been pregnant or breastfeeding a lot of the time over the last 10 years, we also have, toddlers, and we now have a couple of teenagers. So we really run the gamut. And then we also have my husband who wants to honor the fast more strictly. He's clergy and he holds himself to that standard. So it's always been tricky not only to do the fast, but to have people within the same house who are able or not able to fast in the same way. So one of the key ways that we've in our house been able to honor the fast in the best way for us is to have strict fasting dinners. So our dinners, I try and follow all of the vegan guidelines of the traditional fast. And then the rest of the day is up to the individual. So for the adults, we work on fasting until noon, but my little kids do get breakfast. Now, this year, my 8-year-old has asked to try and fast. And so she has waited or skipped breakfast until maybe a little bit later in the morning, tried to make it to lunch. So I think don't be afraid to allow your children to try to abstain from eating at all until lunchtime. But again, we have mercy and we work towards that goal. In our house is 12 to 14 years old, where we start really trying to hold them more accountable to fasting in the mornings. And then again, for lunch, it's going to be whatever that individual needs. If they have higher needs for protein or simply not as great of a palate for vegan options, we'll have whatever we need to have for lunch, and then we're all joining together in the same dinner. To accomplish the same dinner, one of the magic tricks that I have learned is that I try nearly every meal to serve bread and salad or a veggie tray or bread and fruit, so that if a particular kiddo doesn't enjoy the vegan meal that we are having that's maybe outside of their typical comfort zone, they can still fill up their belly on bread and salad or bread and fruit. And we're all, again, partaking of the same meal. So we're working together on that fasting. Another tip that I have for keeping everybody eating the same dinner is to keep your recipes simple. So I found when I first really started to honor the fast, I was making really complicated recipes and completely doing the opposite of what we're supposed to do. I was spending more time in the kitchen instead of less, and I was so stressed out buying specialty ingredients and all kinds of crazy things to come up with these meals. So as the chef, whoever's the primary chef in the house, focus on simple recipes. Busy Mom has a cookbook, Melissa Nasco has a cookbook, and both of their cookbooks really focus on fasting as a family and give really practical, really great advice for making the reality of the fast come alive. And then lastly, don't do 2 hard dinners in a row. So hard, either hard to cook or hard as in something challenging to people's palates, something different to eat. Don't do it 2 nights in a row. So bring out those comfort foods and then trickle in those tricky recipes spread out apart so that you get everybody still on board. I hope that you all are growing in your fast, that you are strengthening your spirit, that you're praying and growing closer to our Lord. And I hope that these tips are helpful to you and your family. God bless.